Hello everyone. Today our video essay is about when life gives you tenderness and medieval romance. We are not simply introducing the drama, and we are not saying that it is a love story. Instead, we want to ask a more specific question. How can a modern Korean family drama still be connected to the structures of medieval romance? So when we first think about the romance, we may imagine knights, quests, beautiful ladies, magic, public trials, and dramatic reunions, right? So, but in this TV series, romance looks like very different. It is not about knights riding away for glory. It is about poverty, about family, labor, and waiting, memory, and survival. So our main idea is that the drama keeps the emotional structure of romance, but changes the form of quest. In this modern story, life itself becomes a quest. So this project is a compare and contrast video essay, so we are not making a broad claim like both medieval romance and drama are about love. That would be too general. Instead, we focus on specific events, specific characters, and specific romance patterns. So to keep our comparison concrete, we focus on several key events from the drama. The first one is maybe Quanzi is about to leave the Jizhou, an island, for athletic training. So, but when Achun calls out to him, he jumps from the boat into the sea and swims back to her. Right? Second, Achun's dreams of becoming a poet, which shows that she wants language, education, and a voice of her own. Third, after the death of their child, Elton and Quanzi carried the grief together as a family wound. Fourth, a small act of kindness in Busan returns years later through memory and helps the next generation. And we compare these events with medieval romance texts such as Yuvan, Gajima, and Lanva. Our goal is to show that the drama doesn't copy the medieval romance directly. Instead, it transforms romance into a modern story about ordinary survival. So our one topic is that the quest becomes survival, right? Our main claim is that when life gives you tenderness, memorizes the romance by changing the location of the test. In medieval romance, love story is often tested through quests, adventures, magical events, and courtly judgment and public honor. The knight may leave home, fight, wander, suffer, and finally return with a changed identity. But in this drama, the test doesn't happen in an enchanted forest or a royal court. It happens in ordinary life. It happens in poverty, family pressure, gender expectations, work, aging, grief, and memory. So, emotional structure remains similar. Love is delayed, tested, wounded, and finally recognized. But the material form changes. The nightly quest becomes the ordinary survival. So, what counts as romance? To support this comparison, we use Barbara's fasces. idea of romance. Fascist helps us understand that romance is not only a fixed genre, it also uh, become understood as flexible narrative strategy. The romance often includes quest, delay, wandering, recognition, hidden identity, desire, and emotional testing. These elements can appear in different periods, different cultures, and different media. This is important because One Life Gives You Tenderness is obviously not a medieval text. It is a modern Korean drama, but it is still uses the romance logic. Ai-chun and Kwan-ji, main character, their love is delayed and tested again and again. Their suffering gives the emotional weight to their relationship. Their lives become meaningful through memory and later recognition. So fascist gives us a theoretical reason to compare medieval romance with the modern drama. So we are not saying that they're the same genre in the simple way. We are saying that the drama uses the romance as a flexible structure. And I'll introduce them as well. Before we move into the comparisons, we need to uh, introduce Action and the Quanti across the time. Action is a poor girl from Jizhou. She is rebellious, imaginative, and emotional, and full of desire for a larger life. Ajin is not a quiet, romantic object. She has anger, dreams, and a desire to express herself. She wants education, poetry, and a life that is not only defined by poverty. Kwanji is a different from typical dramatic romantic hero. This one is Quanji, and this one is Adrian. Um, he's quiet, loyal, hardworking. He's so loyal. And in his childhood, everyone asks about Adrian's dream, and Adrian always says, "I want to be the prime minister, first women prime minister, something like that." And you know how Kwanzaa answers his dream? Kwanzaa says he wants to be the prime minister's husband. So, and he doesn't always express love through beautiful language. Instead, his love appears through labor, patience, and responsibility and staying. This is why their relationship is useful for our comparison. They are not living a magical romance world, but their love is still tested like romance love. And I actually compared those stuffs. This is the slide shows how the structures line up. In a medieval romance, we often see quest and adventure, but in One Life Gives You Tenderness, this becomes ordinary survival. A medieval romance often values uh, knightly loyalty, and in this drama, this becomes Quanzi's long-term care. And romance often presents love as wound, but in this drama, this wound becomes social and emotional suffering. And you can see other things. I compare other things together. So I'll introduce the scenery one. One of the most concrete things for our argument is the boat scene between Quanti and Agent. At this moment, Quanti is not simply living because he doesn't care. He is leaving Jizhou to train and to pursue his athletic future. So the boat represents more than physical distance. It represents opportunity, personal growth, and a possible future outside the island. So he is already on the boat, and the boat is moving away. Visually, the scene creates a strong image of departure. The sea presents the two of them, and Quanzi is being carried away from Ajin. But when Ajin calls out to him, he can't continue living. He jumps from the boat into the sea and swims back to her. This is not a polished romantic speech. It is a courtly promise. It is a physical act of return. You see the picture. This is Quan Ji in the sea. So the boat carries him away, but his swimming body reserves the moment of plot. He is supposed to move toward his own future, but he returns. He turns back towards Ajin. His devotion is not just "I love you", but it is "I will not continue leaving you". So that's actually I think that's completely different from the event. And you know, Yuven's broken promise. This scene becomes more meaningful when we compare it with Yuven. Yuven also faces a conflict between love and the male path of achievement. After carrying Lodinai, Lodan, he leaves to pursue dominance, reputation, and knightly honor. He promises to return, but he fails to keep that promise. In event, the romance crisis begins when the knight leaves. His public quest damages his private loyalty, so he becomes more active as a knight but fails as a lover. But in that Korean TV series, um, Kwanzi is placed in the similar structure, but he makes the opposite choice. He also has the path away from the love, athletic training, a future outside of Jizhou, and the chance to become someone beyond the island. But unlike Yuvan, he refuses to the logic of departure. He jumps into the sea and swims back. So the contrast is clear. Yuvan rides away for the owner. Quincy swims back for love. In this modern romance, heroism is not shown by the living for glory. It is shown by returning, staying, and choosing ordinary devotion.
And next one is masculinity changes. This comparison helps us to understand how masculinity changes from medieval romance to the modern drama. In Yuvan, masculinity is tied to living. The knight proves himself by going out into the world. He rides away, competes, fights, and gains honor. His identity depends on movement away from domestic life. But Guanxic's masculinity works differently. In the boat scene, he also has a chance to live. He has a possibility. He has a possible future in front of him, but the drama makes him his most powerful action a return. He does not become heroic by disappearing into the outside world. He becomes heroic by swimming back into responsibility, intimacy, and ordinary care. The sea is not just a background here, it becomes a space where his choice is made visible. And the boat represents departure, opportunity, and separation, swimming back represents emotional loyalty and the refusal to abandon Aeson. The medieval knight breaks away from the beloved. The modern romance hero swims back to her. And a second concrete example is Aeson's dream of being a poet. This detail matters because it shows that Aeson does not only want romance or marriage, she wants language, she wants education, she wants a life where her feelings and imagination can become words. In Romance terms, Aeson is not only the beloved object of Guanxi's devotion, she is also a request. She is also a questing figure herself, but her quest is not to fight a monster or win public honor. Her quest is to become a speaking subject. This makes the drama different from a simple love story. The question is not only whether Guanxi loves Aison, the question is also whether Aison can keep her voice in a world that keeps pushing herself back into survival. Aison's poetic ambition turns romance inward. The quest is not to win a lady, the quest is for a woman to define herself through language, imagination, and dignity. And this is where Aeson connects to women in medieval romance. Medieval women like Lauden, Lanvol's beloved, or Grismer's lady are not always passive. They make choices, test men, rescue men, or control important knowledge, but their power is usually surrounded by limits like marriage, court, judgment, reputation, or political pressure. Their agency is real, but it is constrained. Aeson is similar in structure. Her dream of poetry gives her agency, but her poverty limits the agency. She wants language, but life keeps demanding labor. She wants education, but social class and the family pressure keep narrowing her voice. So Aeson's agency is real, but it is not free. That is the deeper romance pattern. Desire exists, but desire must fight the structure around it. And love as a realistic word. A third concrete thing is after the death of their child. Aeson become bitter toward the sea, and when the family walks along the shore, he tells Guanxi that she blames herself. This is not a fantasy world; it is a family world. Guanxi does not solve the pain with a heroic rescue. He tells her that no one in the family is to blame, and that they must live on for their other child, for their other children. And this response is quiet, but it is emotionally heavy. This thing shows what we mean by love as a realistic one. Love does not protect them from loss. Instead, love becomes the way they carry loss together. In this drama, love is tied to poverty, family pain, aging, sacrifice, and grief. The wound is not magical. It is social, historical, and ordinary. But because it is ordinary, it feels even more painful. And this is very different from Green Grinjima. but the emotional structure is related. In Grishma, the wand begins in an enchanted romance world. It is strange, symbolic, and almost magical. Um, the wand leads the hero into love, separation, suffering, and eventually reunion. In When life gives you tangerines, the wand is not magical, it is the death of a child, the guilt of a mother, a helplessness of a father, and the need to continue living after something unbearable has happened. So the drama turns the romance one into a social and the family one. It does not ask how can magic heal love. It asks how do ordinary people keep loving after loss. Grijima is wounded into love. Eson and the Guansik are wounded into by the life they must keep living. And a fourth concrete example is the Basan episode, and is later returned through memory when young Eson and Guanxi run away to Busan. They are not in a magical forest or a royal court. They are two poor young people trying to survive in the city. In that episode, they help a young woman at an inn by warning her that the owners are swindlers. This looks like a small act at the time. It is not a public heroic deed, not no court praises them, no one announces them as noble lovers. But years later, this small act returns. The woman remembers what Eson and Guansik did when their daughter is later in trouble. This remembered kindness helps her. Their goodness is not rewarded immediately. It survives in another person's memory and returns later to protect the next generation. So this is a recognition through memory. The drama gives meaning to ordinary lives, not through public glory, but through the way small acts are remembered. In Level, recognition happens in public. Level is judged by the court, and his very beloved appears openly to prove his truth. His value becomes visible in a dramatic public thing, but in when life gives you tangerines, recognition does not work like that. Eson and Gwensik's goodness is not publicly declared. Instead, it is remembered privately. The woman they helped in Busan carries that memory for years, and that memory later helps their child. So, Level gives us public proof, while the drama gives us delayed memory. Level's truth is revealed before the court. Essen and the Guanxic's truth survives in the ordinary memory of someone they once helped. Level is recognized by public proof and next one is the key difference. These specific events show why the drama is a romance without a fantasy solution. Guanxic's boat theme gives us return instead of heroic departure. Eson's poet dreams gives us a quest for voice instead of a quest for public glory. The death of their child gives us a realistic want instead of a magical want. The Busan memory gives us delayed recognition instead of public proof. So the drama keeps the structure of romance but changes its material. It replaces miracle with endurance, combat with labor, public judgment with memory, and magical healing with ordinary care. So this makes the story more painful, but also more realistic. We do not get a magical rescue, we get people trying to survive, to love, remember, and keep going. So in the end, the drama teaches us to recognize romance in ordinary actions. Guansik swimming back from the boat is romance. Eson holding onto poetry is romance. Parents carrying grief after a child's death is romance. A forgotten act of kindness returning years later to protect a daughter is also romance. These are not nightly adventures, but they are quests. They are quests of staying, speaking, grieving, remembering, and surviving. So when life gives you tangerines, it's not a nightly romance, but it uses romance logic. It transfers quests into daily life, magical trial into social hardships. Nightly devotion into ordinary care and public recognition into family memory. So that is why our final claim is in in when life gives you tangerines, life itself becomes the quest. That's all. Thank you so much.